Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna. I hope you're all able to hear me.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So, last time we covered till the 34th shloka, second chapter, wherein basically Krishna is defeating the false arguments of Arjuna. You know, why he wouldn't want to fight, right? So he was giving many reasons. So first one was compassion, and Krishna gave him Atmagnana, or the knowledge of the soul. And so he proved that, his compassion was misplaced. He is only thinking on bodily platform. Now rise above that. So you're the spirit soul. Then he addressed Arjuna's reasoning of not being able to enjoy if he were to kill everyone, all his family members. Then also Krishna uh, defeats his argument by saying, by fighting, you'll actually enjoy, not by not fighting. Because whether you win, if you win, you'll enjoy on earth this kingdom. And let's say you lose and you die on the battlefield, then also you go to the heavenly planets and enjoy this. So that way he defeated his argument. So a few more shlokas to go, and then Krishna will take a different approach to address Arjuna's concerns about sinful reactions. That he was concerned that, by fighting in this war, they're going to accrue a lot of sinful reactions. Okay, so let's finish up this argument based on enjoyment or karma kanda. Karma kanda basically means you work hard and you get good results. So, and you enjoy. So, in a nutshell, that's what it means. So now, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that, you're a Kshatriya. So initially he was talking about all the spiritual knowledge of the soul. And then he takes on this approach wherein he says, all right, even if you don't want to talk about all the spiritual knowledge, or if you don't think you're the Atma, if you think you're the body, then also you're a Kshatriya. As a Kshatriya, you cannot stop fighting. And he's giving him very many valid reasons why he should not give up fighting. So in the previous shloka 34, he says, if you don't fight and if you actually run away, people will mock you and they will insult you like anything. For such a respectable person like you, dishonor is worse than death. So he's saying now, shloka 35, Bhayad ranadu paratam mamsyante tvam maharathaha esham chatvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi laghavam. See, Arjuna was always known as someone who is invincible. He was one of the best archers, and therefore he would always win. And what to speak of running away from the battlefield, he would never give up an opportunity to fight with the enemies. So, if you go away, if you don't fight on the battlefield, people will think that you have fled the battlefield in fear. They will not consider that, oh, you are so compassionate and that's why, you are voluntarily giving up all this. No, people will say you're a coward. And, they will talk, insulting words, and therefore, it'll be a great taint in your name and fame. Previously, people cared a lot about, uh, maintaining a respectable position in the society, and especially their uh, the values of their family and their lineage. So people would always be reminded, you come from such a great family. What will people say? You're coming from such a great family and you're doing such an infamous act. Don't do this. So Krishna is reminding him that. And he's saying, people will talk about you in a very, with very unkind words. Very lightly, they will scorn you, and your ability. Will this not be very painful to you? Especially for Kshatriyas, because they're mostly, they're very kingly and they have this royal nature of Rajoguna. So they lead a life which is larger than life, very of grandeur and opulence. So for them, their self-esteem and their pride is very important to them because they are the rulers and they obviously have to be above, uh, uh, the subjects. So therefore, when people insult them, it's worse than death to them. So now Krishna is saying, Hatvo va prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhokshase mahi tasmaduttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchayaha. So fighting for you is actually a win-win situation. And not fighting is a lose-lose situation. Because if you fight, as I said, you will, if you win this battle here, then you will enjoy this earthly kingdom. But let's say you get killed in the battlefield and you lose. That's okay. Then if you don't enjoy here, you'll enjoy in the heavenly planets. So either ways, you're going to enjoy. And it's a win-win situation. Therefore, you have to fight with determination. Don't give up. Sukha dukhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. So until now, Krishna was dealing with enjoyment. So now he started to talk about sinful reaction. So how is Arjuna going to combat the sinful reaction that he was so worried about? Because he's saying, "Oh, I'm going to be killing my own people and all the gurus and acharyas and whatnot, and this is all very sinful. How do we overcome sinful reaction?" So Krishna is saying, "Sama dukhe sukha dukhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayo." So he's going to start explaining what is known as Buddhi Yoga. By Buddhi Yoga, we can actually overcome all sinful reactions. We may continue to act, but sin will not touch us. Now, how is that? That's why he's saying, you fight, but you should fight in such a way that you will not get any karma. When you fight or when we do activities with knowledge, and when we do it for the sake of the Lord, then we will not be bound by any karma. So that is called as Buddhi Yoga. A famous example is given, uh, just like in a bank, let's say a cashier, every day he's transacting with so much money, but none of it is his, nor does he claim any proprietorship on it. So let's say one day there is less money coming in. He'll not feel sad that today there is less money coming in. At the same time, if one day there's a lot of money coming in, even then he will not be affected. Why? Because that money is not his. And that money belongs to the owner. And therefore, if we also act in that kind of a consciousness that, if we act for the sake of the Supreme Lord, who is the owner of everything, who is the proprietor of everything, then we will not be affected when something goes wrong or when something is very good. We will be equally disposed. And therefore, because we are doing everything for the Lord's sake, the owner's sake, so we will also not be affected by karma or sinful reaction. So in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna comes up with this question. This is a repeated theme actually. He keeps repeating this in the third chapter, in the 15th, in the fifth chapter, in the 18th chapter. Arjuna uh, asks this question. Okay, then, which is better, O Krishna? Renouncing work? Should I just renounce work if it is all bad? Let me just renounce work and let me use my intelligence to get knowledge. Or should I work without getting any being attached to the fruits? So this comes up again and again. Therefore, Krishna um, clarifies that it is better to work without attachment than to give up the activity itself, thinking that it is Maya. No, I should not do this. It's Maya. No, you continue to do your duty, but do not be attached to the results of the work because it belongs to Krishna. Therefore, uh, this attachment to sense enjoyment and material opulence, as given in the Karmakanda section of the Vedas, that's what people generally go to the Lord for. They go to temples so that they can do some puja and then they can get some benefit. They may think, okay, if I do this puja, my financial problem will be resolved. Or if I do that puja, my son may get a job, or if someone doesn't have children, they may, get some puja done to have children, so on and so forth. But the thing is, if we really need to achieve the Lord's grace and come to the highest platform of devotional service, which is beyond all this sense enjoyment and material opulence, then we should give up all this attachment. This also the Lord explains in the following shlokas. And therefore, there are so many of these duties that are prescribed, so many rituals that are prescribed in the Vedas, and they all come under this three guna, sattva, raja, tama guna, because they are all offering certain material benefits. So if we really need to come to the point of devotional service or bhakti yoga, then we have to go beyond all this. So therefore he's saying, you become indifferent to all this rituals, Vedic rituals, and then you become free from all this karma. Then you'll come to the point of liberation, and then you can go beyond cycle of birth and death. And therefore he's saying, don't worry, don't be scared about these sinful reactions by fighting. Because if you fight for my sake, then you will not incur any sinful reaction. Therefore, now he's saying you should be equipoised, because if you work for my sake, whether you're whether in happiness or distress, you should be equipoised, because you're not fighting for your sake. You should just fight for the sake of fighting, or to do your duty, or uh, please the Supreme Lord on a highest platform. Therefore, without considering whether it's going to give you happiness or distress, or whether you're going to lose or you're going to gain, or whether you're going to be victorious or whether you'll be defeated, you should do it detached, in a very detached way. Then you will not incur any sin. But as soon as we think we are the enjoyer, or we do any activity thinking that, oh, what am I going to get out of this? Then immediately we are bound by the karmic reaction. Therefore, it is said that, the Acharyas say, all the Shastras say, before doing anything, any activity, we should actually do a sankalpa. What does that mean? One is that we should pray to the Lord. Now I'm going to do this activity for your pleasure, and none of this belongs to me. Everything belongs to you. And in fact, I'm not the doer, and because the Supreme Lord who is inspiring me to do this. Then we will not be bound up by any activity. So therefore, Krishna next explains, Eshate bhite sankhya buddhi yogam vimam shruno. All this while I've explained to you Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means the knowledge of the spirit soul, Atma Gnana. So now I'm going to explain to you this Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is so glorious. Huh? Buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. So just by understanding and acting in Buddhi Yoga, you will be released of all reactions. So, and now he says this famous shloka, Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So he's saying this Buddhi Yoga is so glorious that even little bit of endeavor, little bit of effort in this direction, it will make you free from even the dangerous type of fear. You will actually be protected from different disasters. Why Krishna is saying this is because this Buddhi Yoga is much higher than all this ritualistic activities mentioned in the Karma Kanda. This is, when a devotee starts acting for the sake of the Lord, and when his real devotional service begins without any selfish motive, then, even a little advancement on this path, because this is a path of spiritual progress. This is the path of devotional service, which is beyond material modes of nature. Therefore, little bit of advancement in this path, it will guarantee the worst type of fear. What is the worst type of fear? Actually, Acharya is right. The worst type of fear is not that, oh, I may lose my job, or some misfortune may fall upon. They may be. They are also fearful, surely. But the worst type of fear, the worst type of misfortune is having gotten this human form of life. If we get degraded into lower species of life, animal species or other species, then that is the greatest misfortune. So, because it's a very long, tedious journey to again get a human birth and to again get a suitable human birth, wherein we can actually cultivate this bhakti yoga. Therefore, we should never do any activities which will make us fall down again. But by doing this Buddhi yoga is also bhakti yoga. So Krishna will reassure, Krishna has guaranteed that, he will protect us from having any kind of a fall down again. So it is so glorious. Therefore, he is stressing upon this. Vyavasayatmika buddhi eke purunandana bahushaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. So he's saying now, those who are very determined in this path of Buddhi Yoga, they have no more distractions now, because now their intelligence is so focused. Their only purpose is to uh, either advance in Krishna Bhakti or act for the pleasure of the Lord. But for those who are not on this path, but their intelligence, oh my God, it's like it's many branched. Just like the materialists. So this is the typical difference between a spiritualist and a materialist. For a spiritualist, he's only worried about how to progress in spiritual life. So everything he tries to mold his life in such a way that he can uh, progress further in spiritual life. But for a materialist, he has so many things to worry about. He may be worried about his finances, or he may be worried about his career, or he may be worried about his house situation, or he may be worried about his health. So many things. Even though the materialist may also go through the spiritualist also may have the similar problems, but for him, his ultimate concern and the way he deals with all the problems is in such a way that it will foster his spiritual progress. So therefore, everything is ultimately it is dovetailed, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned. Ultimately, everything he's doing so that he may go closer to Krishna. But materialist is not like that. Oh, he's pulled in so many different directions. Therefore, the resolute determination will not arise in him to actually take up the spiritual life seriously. That's what the Lord says, Buddhayo avyavasayana. Because of that, because they're being pulled by their senses in all the different directions, they can never focus and commit themselves to, rising spiritually. So in the Vedas too, there is all this flowery language, and there are so many ritualistic activities, fruitive activities, and it's not just in today's world. Even in the Vedic culture, even though they were all pious, they would be driven by these different ritualistic activities just for sense gratification. It may have been a better type of sense gratification. At least they are in the line of the Vedas, but still they were very much distracted and uh, taken away from the real goal of life, which is to attain the Supreme Lord. So in the Vedas also so many um, rituals are given, so many yagnas are recommended, by doing which one can go to heavenly planets, they can enjoy their um, in such nice opulence, and it may also, or they may also be given good birth in their next life, with beauty, power, and knowledge, and so on. But ultimately, all this is for sense gratification, nothing more than that. So, therefore, Krishna is very much condemning this kind of Vedic life also. Just because someone is a follower of the Vedas doesn't mean that they're on the right path. Well, definitely they are better than gross materialists who are not even adherent to the Vedas, because Vedas ultimately are given by the Supreme Lord Himself. Then a question may arise, why did He give all these different paths? Why did He not give just one path so that nobody will get confused? But the thing is, not everyone is willing to take the pure path of Krishna Bhakti. So for such people, the Lord has given in indirect ways, like honey-coated ways, just like how a parent, a mother may give um, sugar-coated medicine to the child, because the child may be unwilling to take the bitter medicine. So the mother will put some candies and all that, and then so that will also act but that will act slowly. So better to take to the direct path of devotional service, especially in Kali Yuga, wherein we don't have the time, nor can we put that much of effort into studying Vedas, which is totally out of question. So, therefore, he says, भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तयापहृत चेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते. So one who is very materialistic, in the sense someone who is very too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and all this, one who is bewildered by such things, they can never commit themselves to this strictly to this path of bhakti, because such a determination will never arise, because as said before, their intelligence will be pulled in different directions. So for one who has to get the resolute determination to do bhakti, he should not be indulging himself in all this different sense gratifications. So all the indriyas um, controlled by the mind should be aligned with the intelligence. And this intelligence should be guided by the higher principles from the Shastra, or in special cases, by the Supreme Lord himself. Paramatma will himself guide very advanced souls. That's why later on in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam Dame buddhi yogam tam yenama upayantite. So for those who are always engaged in the loving devotional service of the Lord and who have no other desire, they're constantly engaged in Krishna's bhakti yoga. For such people, Krishna is saying, Dadami. That means Paramatma will start guiding him directly. Until that point, we need the guidance of an external guru and Shastras. But beyond that point, the Paramatma himself will directly guide. And that means that that particular person, that Jivatma, he's attained such purity that he's able to hear the Paramatma's instructions from within. Because Paramatma is guiding us always. It's just that we are not able to hear. So now, for such an advanced devoted soul, Paramatma, he takes special charge. That's what he says. So that is called Buddhi Yoga, wherein Paramatma himself will guide the intelligence of that person. So that intelligence will control the mind, and the mind will in turn control the senses. Therefore, that is called as Buddhi Yoga. That way, the intelligence, the senses will not go behind so many sense objects here, there. They will not wander. But for one whose intelligence was not guided like this by the Shastra or by the Supreme Lord, their intelligence is many branched, as we saw in the previous shloka. Why? Because the intelligence is running here, there. Then what to speak of the mind? Then what to speak of the senses? There is no control on oneself. So, next, Krishna is saying, therefore, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna. So, Vedas, although they are the ultimate scriptures of knowledge, but still, they mostly deal with three gunas, means sattva, raja, tama guna. They're ultimately, mostly they're dealing with things related to this material world. How to, how to get free from different miseries, how to be more happy, how to enjoy better in this world, within this material world. So therefore, he's saying, better to come out of this material energy, three modes of material nature. Then what happens is that you will become free from all dualities and anxieties for gain and safety. Nirdvandvo nitya satvastho niryoga kshema atmavan. When you stop worrying about our different wants of the demands of the senses, then our mind becomes peaceful. Then we will not be worried so much, and we will not be affected by the dualities of this life. Sometimes there may be situations may be good, sometimes they may be bad. So it's okay, but we should not be affected by that. Nor we should be very, very anxious to gain always or to be always very safe. We should only be focused on serving the Lord for His pleasure. That's how we can be established in the spiritual platform. Then we will automatically become uh, callous, or we won't be affected so much by the ongoing changes in our material life. यावान् अर्थोदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विज्ञानतः. So he's saying, just like uh, if we have a big reservoir of water, that means a big reservoir of water, like, a big lake or a big river, it will give us as much water as a small well can give, and more than that. That means, if we have 1,000 rupees, we automatically have 100 rupees. Similarly, he's saying all the purpose of Vedas can be known or served by whom? Who actually knows the purpose behind it. So why Krishna is saying this is, although there are many people previously, back in the day, so many people were learning the Vedas, and so they were probably into different sections of the Vedas. There's Karma Kanda, there's Jnana Kanda, there's Upasana Kanda. Vedas are like a big ocean. They're actually like a big ocean of knowledge. You get so many things from that. But not many people really understood the goal, the underlying message of the Vedas. They may be lost in different sections. But really, who understands the Vedas is one who actually knows what is the goal, what is the conclusion of this Vedas. So there may be a big, uh, big book which has so many sections to it. One may be very expert in one section, another person may be expert in another section. But the point is, if they don't even know what is the conclusion, what is the purpose of the book, what is the main message of the book, then they have lost it. So they have been misguided. So that's what happens in many of these Vedic scholars also. They may actually not even understand what really Vedas are trying to say. That's why Krishna says later in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo. From all the Vedas, Krishna is to be known. We should understand that the purpose of this whole Vedic knowledge is to understand the Supreme Lord and to become His devotee. Even Gita, for that matter, there are many scholars of Bhagavad Gita, so-called scholars. They may come up with so many different solutions, how you can be successful in management, how you can be successful in business from Bhagavad Gita, and so on and so forth. But they fail to understand what is the real message of Bhagavad Gita. It is to become the devotee of the Supreme Lord and to understand that Shri Krishna is the ultimate goal of everyone. He is the ultimate source of everything. So Krishna is now saying, Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So you do your duty, Arjuna, but don't be attached to the fruits. That means don't ever think you are actually entitled to the fruits of action. Whether you're going to win or not, whether you're going to lose or not, it's not in your hands. Your duty, and you shouldn't even bother about that. Your duty is just to fight. If you fight in such a way, you will never be um, touched by karmic reaction. Therefore, never consider yourself the cause or the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So now there are two aspects here. The minute we think that I'm the doer, then I think because of me, this work is succeeded or defeated, whatever. So actually, we are not. There are so many other factors involved when any particular action is done. Later on, Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita. One, there is these three gunas or the prakriti, they are making us act. Then there is the time. Then there is our karma. Then there is the Paramatma himself who is guiding us. And finally, it is the individual jiva. So it's not that only we are doing. So first of all, we should never think we are the doer, because ultimately Krishna is in control of everything. So we should never think that all this has happened because of me. And at the same time, we should not say, okay, all this is not happening because of me, or I'm not going to get anything out of it, then why should I do it? Even that should not be the attitude, because we still have to be performing our duty. We should never think that, we should never be attached to not doing our duty. So not doing our duty is sinful. And at the same time, thinking that I'm the doer, and then that I'm going to enjoy the fruits, that is also sinful. That will also give sin. So we should be detached and always perform our duty for the sake of the Lord. So, yogastha kurukarmani sangam tyaktva jananjaya. Therefore, you should perform your duty in an equipoised way. Should abandon all the attachments. What is the attachment? You're always either attached to success or failure, whether this activity is going to succeed or whether it's going to fail. No. We should just give everything to the Lord. First of all, we should understand what is our duty. Once we understand by the guidance of Guru, Krishna, and Shastra, then we should act in a detached way, unaffected by success or failure. Such equipoised behavior is yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. So by being situated in yoga, we will not be bound by sinful reaction. Dhureena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam vichha kripana phala hetavaha. So by being in devotional service or buddhi yoga, we should keep all the abominable activities, all the sinful or bad activities, we should keep it at a distance. We should never perform any abominable activities. And we should always surrender to the Lord through buddhi yoga. Only those who are misers, they want to enjoy the fruits of their work. So this is the typical material calculation. Usually materialistic people, they think, oh, what am I going to get out of this? If I do this, then I'll get this much profit. If I do that, I'll get this gain. So because of this, we are very miserly and we are bound up by karma. But one who is not a kripana, one who is broad-minded, one who is a brahmana or a bhakta, they don't care whether I'm going to get profit out of this or that. They're only worried whether I'm acting for the sake of the Lord. Such a person, he is not to be bound by any karma. So man, therefore, who is engaged in buddhi yoga, not only he is unaffected by bad karma, but even good karma will not touch him. So it's not enough to just keep ourselves away from bad karma. If you keep on accumulating good material karma by doing all these pious activities like, helping the poor and this and that, then we will again have to come back to enjoy our good karma, results of good karma. So ultimately, we should, whatever we do, we should not do for our own satisfaction, for the satisfaction of the Lord. Then that is the highest form of yoga. Therefore, in devotional service or buddhi yoga, great sages, they always free themselves from this karma bandhana, this bondage of work, he says. In this way, we will be not only freed from this bondage of karma, but we will also become happy. So we will go beyond all states of all sorts of miseries, and then ultimately we will go back home, back to Godhead. That is, we'll go to the spiritual world. So Krishna is saying here that don't think I'm saying something that is new. People have done it before. So halam tyaktva manishinaha. So they have done it before, and people have achieved success, and they have ultimately come to the spiritual world. So when your intelligence, Arjuna, has passed through this dense forest of illusion, then you will become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So this we have seen. Even before coming to this path of Bhakti Yoga, we would have had so many misconceptions, whether from good background or bad background. We will have so many misconceptions. Once we come to Bhakti, then we will understand all that is, all the ritualistic practices, or whether it is good ritualistic practices, or whether it is sinful activities. These are all really ultimately not good. What is really good is Bhakti Yoga. Even the so-called material uh, pious acts, good acts, will also ultimately bind us to karma. Therefore, Krishna says, when our mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, that is when we have actually come to the spiritual platform, when we are no more bothered about, oh, Vedic rituals, they talk about this and that, so we will gain this material benefit from that, or that material benefit from it. This is generally, especially in India, this is the mentality. Oh, what if we do this puja, we'll get that. If we do that puja, we'll get this. So, but we have to go beyond all that if we really have to come to the platform of your devotion service, Krishna is saying. Then we will come to ultimately when our mind is fully pure, and if it is only fixed in, when it's only fixed in pure devotional service, then we will attain the state of divine consciousness or samadhi. And this is the highest perfection. So one who is in full samadhi, that means he has fully realized the Supreme Lord. And that is possible through bhakti. Yama abhijanati. That's what the Supreme Lord says here. All right, we will stop here. Next class, we will continue. Let's see. Who is that perfect soul? What are his characteristics? All right.
Correct.
Thank